Thank you, Amy, for setting such a wonderful tone for us. We appreciate all of your instructions and your mentoring along, and our thanks to all of you who are participating in today's contest. We determined the order for our international contestants by drawing before the meeting began, and that order will be Andrew Williamson first and Missy Carlson second. And so we are ready, if you will assist Missy in taking her outside and happily present to you Andrew Williamson presenting a speech titled Smokeless Stoves. Andrew Williamson.
Well, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and I want to thank the honored guests who are here. We're so glad. I know that you all have seen these pictures of when there's an organization that's trying to raise money for food. They show you a picture of a child who has a swollen belly. When somebody's trying to raise money for water, clean water, they show you children playing in this dirty water that you wouldn't walk through, let alone drink. But there's another problem that's not often shown. Back in that house, they're cooking over an open fire. Did you know that 7 million children, women and children a year, are being severely burned? In Africa alone, there are over 1 million. Every continent has about 1 million children a year being burned. Think about that. What can we do about it? Well, there is a solution to this problem, and it's an enclosed, clean-burning, efficient, smokeless stove. How that's going to change things is, it's going to change things because it is so efficient, it's so simple. It doesn't cost a lot of money, it doesn't take a lot of high technology. We can put one in, and the neat thing about it, it's going to help solve 2 of the major problems in the world today. First, the safety of children in the homes, and 2, the health, the long-term health effects. Can you imagine breathing smoke most of your life because you're in a home that cooks with an open fire? See, that's going to have long-term health effects to the children, and the women and children in those families. The other thing that's so neat about it is it's an elegant, simple design. And it's so simple, in fact, all you have to do is build a firebox. All you have to do is build a firebox and put it inside a concrete shell. You pack it with mud. See, this is simple. This is not hard to do. It's not rocket science. A concrete firebox and a concrete shell packed with mud. And what the mud does is it insulates the fire. It keeps it hot. It makes it burn so much hotter. That hot burning fire consumes 60% less wood because you're getting so much heat out of the wood that you're burning. Think about the time that it takes to go and find wood, carry it back, cut it to size, and then start your fire. If you could cut that time in half, wouldn't that be a benefit to you? Okay, here you've got this hot fire. Now it's in the firebox, it turns and goes up to a small opening at the top of the stove. There's a small opening about 2 inches. There's an 1/8-inch thing. Steel plate at the top is the cook surface. And then the mud that we put in there is covered with ash. What the ash does is it seals the edge of the stove so the smoke doesn't leak out, and it also reflects the heat back to the cooking surface. So here you have this hot fire. You have it up there at the cooking surface. Because it's so hot, you create this draft. This draft removes 90% of the smoke and the particles in the fire. So here you've got this efficient fire. You've got this clean fire. And the neat thing about it is that a benefit to a child, who's not running around playing near an open fire? There's a great deal of safety in that. But there's a bigger problem. That's the local problem, or the individual problem. But did you know that on our planet we've recently passed the 7 billion mark in people? And it is predicted that in 30 years, we're going to be at 9 billion. Somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 of those people are using primitive open fires. So every day they've got to go out and forage for fuel. That foraging is the 2nd leading cause of deforestation. Now, deforestation is going to create this huge problem with global warming. When everybody's out foraging, they've got to do it. There's no other way to fuel their fire. They're out there taking the wood out, and they're releasing carbon back into the atmosphere. When they use coal, they're using a concentrated form of carbon. So here you've got these two sources of fuel, both of them releasing carbon, and we're cutting down the trees to use in the fire. So what trees are going to be left to clean the air? Fewer every time. If we're going to have more people, how in the world are we going to supply fuel? How are we going to find a way to reduce the fuel consumption? How are we going to make it safe? Well, this stove is one of those solutions. Global warming is also part of that problem. You have the local, you have that middle problem, everybody looking for fuel, but then you also have a global problem. What are we going to be doing about a planet that's heating up? About a planet that the heat is causing there to be severe storms? What about the heat that's changing the weather patterns? Or the heat's causing the rise in sea level? What are we going to do about those problems? Now, I know the stove is not the answer to all those problems, but it is an answer. And in a world where we're short of answers, here's a simple, workable, affordable solution to a global problem. Can you imagine billions of people sitting around a fire and millions of children being burned severely? When you're burned in a third world country, there's no doctor to care for you. There's no therapist. There's no surgeon to correct it. You go through life being unproductive, being a burden to your family. In every third world country, you have to work to live. If you can't work, you're a burden. Somebody's got to take the time to care for you. So, here we have a solution. Now, I don't know what it would take to excite you about this, to get you excited, to get you involved, but something has to move. If you see the need, what in the world are you going to do? Well, I know this works. I know that a simple idea is better than a room full of PhDs with position papers. So I'm going to do this. I just hope you